Good morning, people. New week. Give me a minute. Get Facebook on board. Anyway, how are we? Hope we all had a nice weekend. I had no bad weekend, even though I was working. Okay, that's Facebook on board. Anyway, how are we all this morning? Let's look, see who's in. George, Lenny, Mark, Sandy, Joey, Reagan Awake. Good morning, Reagan Awake. Enjoyed your work over the weekend, is what I've seen. Rosie McGregor. Eddie. Mad Monk, Mark Telfer, Margaret, Martin the Hippie, Peter Morrison. Right, scroll back down again, see if we get any Facebookers on board yet. Anyway, quite the weekend. We've got Melanie in for Facebook, our avian reporter, Sweden, duck specialist. Anyway, what an interesting weekend it's been. Trump pissed off to play golf, had a meltdown, had another meltdown, then another meltdown, then another meltdown. I think the big one's man baby's flipped his lid, but hey ho, way it is. Right, let's get this broadcast underway. Andy Truck Davy out the truck at home in his office, as he always is these days, in Southern North Lanarkshire, where it is cloudy, dry, 7 degrees, no bad. First up this morning, we have the Times. I'll put it up. I'll be picking quite a few up actually this morning, folks. So, first up we have the Times. And the Times has scrap working from home and ban school expulsions to cut crime, says expert. Right, and this is a Karen McCloskey, violence reduction expert, says working from home means that people get more time to be influenced by bad influences on the internet. And what she's also saying is that schools shouldn't expel or exclude kids from class or from school, because generally when they're expelled, their parents still have to go to work. The kids then end up roaming the streets, and that's when they come into contact with the criminal justice system. So this crime reduction expert says get back in the office and schools stop expelling kids. Main headline, UK coaches Ukraine before key peace talks. And I thought, looking at the fucking negotiations for Brexit, looking at the shite trade deals that have been arranged since Brexit, the UK is not in a position to coach anybody on diplomatic procedures. Nobody. In fact, you get right doing it, the UK is pretty shite at it, negotiation. So it's probably just as well that Zelensky's not taking them well. Next up, we have the Telegraph. Let's put that up. There we go. It's going to be the other end, isn't it? Yep, here we go, the Telegraph. Now, what's the Telegraph going to say for itself today? It has Trump, Ukraine may not survive. And US President urges Ukraine to give up territory ahead of crucial peace talks. Alright. So what Trump's saying to Zelensky is, give Putin what he wants. But we all know, folks, if Zelensky cedes any ground to Putin, then Putin will just keep taking and taking and taking. A bit like Trump, we have to treat Putin the same. You must stand up to bullies. If we don't stop Putin where he is and shove him back within his own borders, he's going to keep coming. And he's going to keep coming until he gets what he wants, and that is the the re-establishment of the Russian Empire as it was. Notice I didn't say the Soviet bloc, I said the Russian Empire as it was. Right, let's move on. The Scottish Daily Fail has. We'll put that one up and all. The Fail, where are we? Here we go. The Fail. According to the Daily Fail, woke RAF is running out of Top Gun pilots, and apparently unlawful diversity drive jeopardises PM's pledge to put jets in sky over Ukraine. The PM can pledge all he fucking wants. Not just do they know of enough pilots, they don't have enough planes. There is only about 137 UK fighter jets. No, there's 35 F-35s as well. So 137, 177 fighter jets. And apparently they don't have enough pilots for them. And that's being blamed very, very much Trumparian, this one. Woke RAF is running out of Top Gun pilots because of unlawful diversity drive. Really? This Trumparian shit gets interesting as we go a wee bit further in. Watch out for the next Trump-style headline. Okie dokie. But there you go, folks. Apparently, by trying to recruit female and ethnic minorities into being fighter pilots, they've not got enough of them. And it's because white people apparently are not being allowed to apply. Never heard so much shite in my life. When it comes to the military services, the same as in any other walk of life, the best candidate goes forward. The best candidate. Irrelevant. Gender, colour, religion. All irrelevant. The best candidate goes forward. Right, we'll stop sharing that. Right, let's move on. I'll get rid of that. Make it easy for myself. Get rid of that. Make it easy for myself. Okie dokie. Next up, we have the Scottish. We have the Scotsman. And we'll stick this one up. This one's got a nonsense headline in it, folks. And I mean absolute nonsense. It's made up bollocks. And when I hit this headline a couple of years ago, I went looking. I can assure you it is made up bollocks. The Scotsman. Delays in vital cancer tests give women sleepless nights. And I thought, that doesn't sound fucking right. Sarah's on a watch list, so she gets a letter every year. And she pops in the surgery and gets a smear test. Now, delays in vital cancer tests gives women sleepless nights. Waiting times for cervical examination increase in all but one health area since 2019. I thought, that doesn't sound fucking right at all. So, I went and looked at waiting time for smear tests. There isn't any. There's no waiting time for smear tests. None. So I thought, okay then. Once they've had their smear test, how long does it take to get treatment? Normally treatment starts within 31 days. So go on for getting your smear test, it being sent to the lab in Dundee, the lab in Dundee dealing with it, sending it back to your GP, and you commencing treatment takes 31 days in Scotland. 31 days. That was an absolute nonsense headline. Absolute bollocks headline. So, as I say, I asked various ways in my search engine, is there a waiting list for smear tests in Scotland? I'll share the answer with you. Where there may be occasional delays in booking a smear test in Scotland due to factors like the pandemic, there is generally not a significant waiting list for routine cervical screening appointments. And I can assure you there isn't. If you're a healthy woman, you get your letter every 3 years. Yeah, I can't remember what age that starts at. I think younger women it's 5 year, and then once you get 30, it goes to 3 year, or 40, it goes to 3 year, and then you get 50, it's 3 year. I definitely know that. Unless you're on a watch list, then it'll be either 6 monthly, yearly, so on. Okay. Now, the next thing I asked was, how long does it take to get the treatment after your smear test? And of course, I got the answer. You always get the answer when you put it in. So I went to various sources. First, my search engine, which I'll put up for you, it's AI. And then I went to the NHS website. And then at 9:30 this morning, I phoned my surgery just to ask the receptionist if there's ever any problems and referring people for cervical treatment. And they all said the same thing. Yeah, for smear test is treatment starting 31 days. But let's have a look. Shall we? How long is the waiting list for cervical cancer in Scotland? Let's roll this back up. Sorry. As you can see over the page, according to Scottish Government standards, and this is what's expected, the waiting times is you should be seen within 16 weeks. But actually, it's standard that tells you here, it normally takes 31 days to get the treatment started. So, half the 62 days. So, if you test to go on to see the oncologist and starting your treatment, 31 days. So, as I say, absolute made-up nonsense in the Scotsman today, folks. And an absolute bullshit story. And it's based on one woman falling through the cracks in NHS Tayside. Apparently, forgetting her test to treatment started, unfortunately, it was 256 days. We don't know why that is, but that's what they're basing it on. A person falling through the cracks. Now, I don't care what sort of service is being provided on mass to your people. There will be people who fall through the cracks, whether it be in housing, benefits, health, education, any of the services. There will always be people who are the exception to the rule who fall through the cracks. That's all it is. The headline is made up bollocks. The story is made up bollocks. Let's move on. The Sun has stopped the cycle of violence. Dad's plea as vigil held for tragic Amund. And that was a 15-year-old stabbed to death in Glasgow. And the Rancid goes on the same story, I believe. No, this is another one. It goes on the story of sister hits out over abuse probe. I blame Judge Snub for brother's death. And this is a young fella who had given testimony to the child abuse inquiry here in Scotland to Lady Smith. He then pleaded with Lady Smith no to make his name public. And before the report's even compiled and made public, the boy commits suicide because apparently Lady Smith said no. I'm afraid it's going to have to be made public. Tragic, but I don't think we can blame Lady Smith for laying down the rules of the inquiry, or maybe we can. But I don't think we can attribute this death to the judge. I don't. Right, this one's a cracker. We'll put the Herald up. There've been some good ones today. The Herald. Call to honour pledge on young adults leaving care. And I thought, well, Nicola did make a pledge that when they left the system at 18, they would get help with education, they would get help with finding a job, or when they move into their home, they would get assistance with council tax until they were 25 and things like that. I haven't really heard and looked much into it for a few years. But what was interesting about this, folks, when you go on to read the article, it's not about young people leaving care. It's about an increase in young adults being homeless. That's what the article's about. Nothing to do with headline whatsoever. It's not about young people even care at all. It's about ministers told of increase in vulnerable left homeless. So it's not about people even care. It's about young people and homelessness and the reasons behind it. Quite a confusing headline. A really confusing headline. And the byline on that one is 14 and 15-year-olds in court over Armin Telsky's death. Okay, Armin Telsky's death. And that's the young fella that gets stabbed to death or murdered in the north of Glasgow. Hey, let's move on. The Express goes on. A royal story. King sends heartfelt message of gratitude to Commonwealth war heroes. Remember the sacrifice of our family of nations. And I thought, family of nations? Family of nations? You wouldn't call them a family of fucking nations when you were brutally colonising them. Rape, pillage, theft and murder as you stomped across the world. Taking people's lands, their possessions, their culture, their lives. Wasn't it a family of fucking nations then? It was brutal warfare and death. Funny how history gets rewritten, isn't it? And do you think these colonies wanted to send their men to aid the UK? They were conscripted. They were conscripted. Simple as that. They were colonies, they were told, give us your men. They say it's funny how history gets re-fucking written. The glorious empire that the sun never set on. Nobody talks about the rivers of blood that it took to construct that fucking empire. The suppression of people's cultures to build that empire. The imprinting of yourself unnaturally on other people's. Fucking no real. Funny how history gets rewritten, isn't it? Family of nations, my arse. Oofed. I don't know why I still had the Herald up there, folks, while I was talking about the Express. Yeah. The Metro has a crime story of such. More crime against women revealed. Upskirting plague increases. I had to look that one up. I had a fair idea, right enough. But to look it up, apparently there's a bunch of young men strolling about with this perversion of putting cameras on sticks and sticking them below women's legs to take pictures of their underwear, apparently. We've got some strange people out there, folks. Really strange people. Why would they want to go to that trouble? You want to see women's lingerie? Go to a fucking shop. Get a Freeman's catalogue. Look on Amazon. Why would you want to fucking go to the trouble of sticking a camera up their skirts? Weirdos. Absolute weirdos. Right, the National has, I'll put this one up. Remember we were talking about Trumpelli and stuff? Here we go. Labour to set out Trumpian call civil service reforms. In other words, they're talking about slashing the amount of civil service servants working in the public sector, meaning that your public services will diminish further. As well as the funding for public services being cut, the amount of people in the workforce in the public services, administering those public services, is about to be slashed in a Trumpellian style reform, apparently. Where is this fucking end to austerity? Where is this change? Labour for change. I don't see any change. I see Tory austerity on stilts everywhere I look. Everywhere I look. And they're that fucking stupid, they don't realise by taking money out of people's pockets, they are leading to contraction of the market. No disposable income, no spending into the market. The market contracts. These people are thick as fucking mince. Thick as mince. Now, the main headline in the National, please give as much as you can. FM's message as all of main Scottish political party leaders back our new fundraiser for medical aid in Palestine. Barbaric Israel cuts off Gaza power and food and water and medical aid. Raising money for medical aid for Palestinians is the right thing to do. For food for Palestinians is the right thing to do. For shelter for Palestinians is the right thing to do. To rebuild Palestine is the right thing to do. But it's not going to help if the fucking Israelis won't let it through. And the barbaric Israelis won't let it through. We are now on day 8 of the blockade of aid, food aid, medical aid, and the shutting off of power and water again. And they're still shooting them. This is fucking barbaric. But no, it's a good cause, and if you can afford it, folks, talking about good causes, right after this programme, I've got a our food bank phoning me this morning, and I've got I can't remember the other one was. They get an hour. I'm waiting the hour food bank getting back to me, and we've got one in Falkirk phoning me back this morning, and all drop I think it's called. So I'm right after this programme, I'm waiting 2 calls from in between 11 and half 11. Okay, so let's take the National down. As I say, folks, we are known for our generosity here in Scotland. If you can help, help. Okay, that was the National. Next up, we have the Eye, and it has an English story. Ministers want to freeze out NIMBY groups to end nonsense. Planning delays. Not in my backyard. Fair dues. But if you don't want something in your backyard, you should have the right to appeal at happening. Doesn't mean you'll be successful, but the right should be there to appeal. Especially a group of citizens who are getting something imposed in their area that they don't want. But when they talk about freezing things, well, Labour would know about fucking freezing things, wouldn't they? First thing they did was freeze the fucking pensioners. What was interesting about that was they took away 300 quid of a winter fuel support, and then they put electricity up with 300 quid. Leaving pensioners out of the winter there, sorry. It only went up to 300, it'll go up to 300 quid in April. But that's how much electricity prices went up since Labour came to power. So much for bringing them down by 300 quid. But anyway, 300 quid, couple of hundred quid more during the winter. Because in October it up by 10%, in January up by 1%, it's gone up by 6.4% in April. But basically pensioners were left about 500 quid out of pocket. Well, the winter there, between the scrapping of the winter fuel allowance and the increase in the electricity costs, pensioners, poor pensioners out of the winter there, were £500 worse off. Aye, Labour knows about fucking freezing things. Vulnerable pensioners, especially. And it looks like they're about to do the same to the disabled folks. And we're about to get an austerity budget, or spring statement, whatever you want to fucking call it. Lovely stuff. Yeah. So they say Labour knows all about lying. They're just as bad as Bojo. Starmer's as bad as Bojo, and Labour knows all about freezing things. And apparently, Labour are going to stop you from Complaining about something being imposed upon your area that you and your fellow residents might not want. Okay, let's end up with the star today. Let's round up with the star today as we always do. So we'll put the star up and see what the star's got for us today. Melanie, you get a DIY smear test kits in the post there, do you? Oh, we still doing the surgeries. Anyway, up we come with the star. There you go. In Sweden, they get their smear test sent out to them. We get the same thing with a bowel cancer test, Melanie. Right, star. Prez not special. Trump gets hump. He's been taking the hump all weekend, but what's he taking the hump about this time? Well, apparently, poor Donald doesn't feel very special at this point in time, folks. He's thrown his dummy out the pram because King of Adulterers and head of the Church of England, fucking take that one for a double whammy. He met President Zelensky before he met President Trump in Trump's second term in office. So apparently Trump's got the hump because King of Adulterers and head of the Church of England, big fingers, or sausage fingers, big ears, met Zelensky before he met Trump, so Trump's so sad. Well, we get the miniature violin out, folks. Anybody got that purple pump for the piss? Fuck Donald. Hope your neck shapes a hedgehog, man. Well, that gets the week after a good start, folks. Lots of nonsense in the press. Pardon me. And the Scotsman's running a Zoomer story. An absolute Zoomer story. They say, oh, thanks, Rushin. Sorry, my comments have been moving there. Thank you very much, and it was lovely to get a chance to catch up with you last night, lass. It really was. I hope you and Chatty didn't stay up all bloody night. Not that an hour, aye. Wait a minute. Where did that go? Oh, it's you. Right, thanks very much, folks. To say thanks for tuning in your huge numbers today. 141 he's watching our platforms. Say first one of the week out the road. A lot of nonsense in the press as usual. And the big orange man baby across the pond is taking up all the headlines at the moment. But it would appear that Labour is going to adopt a few of the policies that Elon Musk has got underway with Doge. And we hear the Labour office manager here in Scotland, Anna Sarwar, talking about setting up a Doge for the Scottish Parliament. Just as well fucker will never be in power, huh? You guys have a nice day. I'll see you all this afternoon for Two Davies at 4 o'clock. And I will be back tomorrow morning, same time, to go through the nonsense and the headlines then as well. Look after yourself.